Tobacco is a common vice for many people. Still today, it is used widely for many number of reasons. It is common knowledge that these days that smoking is a severe health risk and can lead to many forms of cancers, amongst a huge number of other things. The strain on the health system from smoking-related diseases is huge, and because of this, governments spend huge amounts of money every year on anti-tobacco campaigns. Although these campaigns are shown to have results, these results vary among different groups of people. Amongst these are the differences of low socioeconomic class and high socioeconomic class. Is there a difference between low and high ACS smokers?
Well, in a 2014 study investigating the effects of financial education intervention with nicotine replacement therapy for low socioeconomic status Australian smokers indicates Australian smoking rates in the areas with lowest socioeconomic status being 24.6%, being almost double that observed in the highest socio-economic status areas, being 12.6%. Hiscock, Bold, Amos, Fiddler, and Rufano also found and argued that smoking is more common in disadvantaged groups such as low socio-economic groups, and being they are disadvantaged, they are more prone to face higher harms caused by tobacco. They argue that due to the uptake of smoking being higher in low socio-economic groups, the quit attempts are less likely to be successful. This has been shown by the likelihood of psychological differences such as lack of self-efficacy and tobacco industry marketing.
There's definitely a difference between the social classes and the rates of quitting smoking, as both as Callan has pointed out, it is found time and time again that although once it was very much not only common to smoke but an attractive and wealthy thing, in recent years this perception has been flipped, and although the price of cigarettes continue to rise, it is seen in studies that the higher class are quitting at much higher rates than lower socioeconomic classes.
Why are there lower quit rates in low socioeconomic status?
Well, this is expanded upon by Hiscock and his colleagues in 2012, who point out that not only is smoking more prevalent in disadvantaged groups, but they also have a higher exposure to its harms. It was found that often cigarette companies actually target these groups with their advertisement and placement of outlets of where they can be bought.
On top of this, it is found that access to help to quit smoking is much lower for the lower socioeconomic class, and quit attempts are far less successful. The extra stresses that people of low socioeconomic status have to deal with can also play a role in their failures to quit, needing cigarettes to relieve stress and unable to deal with the extra stresses of the side effects of quitting.
Paul and colleagues in 2010 studied the social context of smoking for both low and high socioeconomic statuses. They found that the number of social contexts encouraging smoking for those of lower economic status, whilst those of a higher socioeconomic status often felt looked down upon for smoking, the same situations were often times where the low socioeconomic class felt pressured to smoke and were surrounded by pro-smoking influences. Other problematic factors such as being financially stressed, low health literacy, smoking being embedded within social circles, costs of nicotine replacement therapy, high rates of nicotine dependence, and fuel pumps to quit add more weight to the challenges of quitting.
Where is the evidence?
Durkin and colleagues' study also analysed calls made to quit line in Victoria over 107 weeks. 6,275 calls were received from low socioeconomic status smokers compared to that of 9,619 calls from high socioeconomic status smokers over the same time period. More interestingly, they've found that low socioeconomic status individuals were more likely to make calls after having seen highly emotive narrative ads compared to non-narrative ads. These statistics suggest that the anti-tobacco companies are more effective on high socioeconomic status groups, as Quitline received more calls per week which is accountable for the lesser percentage of smokers in the low socioeconomic status areas.
Both research results found that low socioeconomic groups had a higher amount of smokers compared to high socioeconomic groups. Durkin and colleagues found that higher socioeconomic smokers made a greater attempt to reach out for help from Quitline and argued that this resulted in the lower amount of smokers in this specific group. Whereas Bald and colleagues argued that quit attempts would be less likely due to them being more disadvantaged and that other measures such as tobacco control measures would be required.
What needs to be done?
They argue that to reduce the amount of smokers amongst this specific disadvantaged group should be a combination of tobacco control measures such as increasing the price of tobacco, as well as the assistance with the delivery of wider attempts to address health inequalities, which Bald and colleagues stated.
The effective use of mass media campaigns, plain packaging regulations, as well as smoke-free legislations and cigarette taxation can reduce smoking rates in low SES communities to some extent. However, these strategies alone are not enough, as the challenges people of low SES face with smoking cessation isn't only pinpointed to the inadequacy of anti-smoking campaigns and programs within these communities, but also involves the idea of the pervasiveness in low health literacy. As we all know, low health literacy interferes with the capacity to obtain, process and understand basic health information needed to make appropriate healthcare decisions. A strategy that could be taken into consideration is training healthcare providers with techniques to clearly communicate health consequences of smoking and offer treatments which don't require high HL. Communicating using simple language, one-to-one teaching, the teach-back method, and visual material are ways which support low SES smokers with low HL. Another strategy which could seek lower rates of smoking in low SES communities is providing financial education. This would aim to reinforce motivation to quit smoking by improving an individual's lifestyle through reducing financial stress. Through the use of financial education, anti-smoking strategies can be beneficial as low SES smokers can be informed about long-term costs of smoking, the relationship between financial stress and smoking, financial goal setting and budgeting.
Anti-smoking campaigns are often very generalised, not trying to target a specific audience of smokers. This may need to be re-evaluated. Considering the significantly lower rates of quitting in the more disadvantaged areas, campaigns targeting these areas and less focus on trying to give support to the people of higher socioeconomic areas, as it is shown that support from social circles is much higher for them anyway. Reaching out to those who have less incentive to quit is the next important step. We need to understand how disadvantaged smokers perceive and engage with health warning messages and use it to improve the impact anti-tobacco campaigns have on low SES smokers. A research article by Peretti and colleagues in 2013 detailing socioeconomic status and smokers' behaviour highlights the present-orientated attitudes which low SES smokers have. Less educated people, manual workers, unemployed, and those with low financial resources were found to be more present-orientated and impulsive than their counterparts. The perceived benefits of smoking, which are immediate for low SES smokers, outweigh the most serious effects of smoking that show up on a long-term span. Hence the desensitisation and self-exempting beliefs towards health risks caused by tobacco amongst low SES smokers for a change in the way anti-smoking strategies are directed at these communities. Such modifications to cessation strategies could entail relevant short-term and immediate targets which produce long-term impacts to reduce smoking rates within disadvantaged communities.
That's all we've got time for, and I would like to thank Kellen, Alan and Zainab for their time and input. From what they have said, it is safe to say that smoking is a serious issue for not only everyone, but for the lower socioeconomic status groups.